Hi guys, I'm Aussie and welcome to episode 8 of Western United, and today it is a transfer special. We are going to go through the summer, well that's actually the winter, isn't it, in Australia? We're going to go through the off-season anyway, and we are going to try and strengthen our team. We know that we have a Champions League campaign next year, and it was pointed out to me in the comments by Noah, I think it was. Wellington are a New Zealand club, they can't represent Australia in the Champions League, that's probably why we have qualified. And I completely missed that fact, so thank you for pointing that out to me. Yeah, so we've not left since the end of season awards last episode. What we'll do, we'll start by having a quick look at the squad and what we got out of people this year. We can see appearance-wise, obviously the goalkeeper Pasquale and Jonathan were the main three protagonists. What am I trying to say there? They played the most. There we go. Let's go with simple words for simple minds. That's my mind, not your mind. Yeah, we can see Berisha, who we know is leaving, and Jotek, who are leaving, played a lot, as did Kone and Diamanti. If we look down the bottom here, people who didn't play, now you will notice there's a lot of what are they called? Trialists at the club. Basically, the most recent international call-up, any Australian youth player that wasn't unattached, I've given them a trial. So there's one or two here, I can't remember who they are now. There's one or two that we might look to shortlist and maybe give contracts to. There's a young goalkeeper potentially that we could look to get in. But we have to wait till basically contracts expire before we can make those sorts of decisions. We can see here the players we didn't really use. Nick Sulman, a backup goalkeeper, we want to keep him. I think we want to keep this young guy as well because he's relatively, or maybe he's not that high potential. He has another year left on his contract, so we might see if we can maybe loan him out or sell him on or something. Calva is useful if the likes of Durante leave. Durante there, we know he is leaving. Connor Payne, if we want wingers, could we do a little bit better than him? Possibly, though he is decent if we're not going to play with wingers all the time. So that could be one we sort of play around with. Astropopoulos here, I think we could do better for a striker, to be honest, so we might look to move him on. He has another year left on his contract as well. Burgess is useful, though he's not really anything. He's not really he's a decent midfielder. He's not really a midfielder, not really a striker, not really a winger. He's kind of decent at everything. So he might be one we could look to upgrade on as well. And above that, you're getting into players that we used quite a bit of. The big question here, I think, is Gollum. He had, of course, that serious knee injury. His pace is gone. Now, the one thing I didn't realise is that he's actually Australian, a second nationality of Australian. I do actually remember now when I realised this. There was a big thing, wasn't it, over whether he would play for Australia or Turkey, and I do, as I said, kind of remember that now. So he is actually not a foreign player, which makes him more useful potentially. It's that pace that I'm really, really worried about now, if I'm honest. So yeah, let's get this summer underway. Let's see what we can do. We know we have at least Jotek, so at least one foreign player slot we can go with. So yeah, let the fun begin. There we go. So the A-League final has been played, and it was 2-1 West Sydney Wanderers. 2 early goals. They got the result there. So we can say we lost to the eventual champions, which I think is okay. First season, we can deal with that, and let's say we're the second best team, even though Wellington smashed us every time we played them this year. So there we go. So that's that. Now a couple of minor transfers to catch you up on here. A couple of youth players that are coming in on youth contracts. Garin Wilkins, Davante on a youth contract, the young goalkeeper. These are of course the youngsters that we had on trial. So we've signed him. Hopefully he'll come through. He's only 16. That's at a youth contract, so he doesn't have to be registered. Jackson McGreevy. Yeah, I mean, we signed him. He's got some decent mentals there. He's on a youth contract, so it doesn't affect our senior team, the players who have to register. So that should be fine, and we'll see. He may come off, he may not. And the other one I'm actually quite excited about is Rhys Gardner here as a striker. I think this guy could be a decent third-choice striking option behind, because obviously we have, what's-his-face coming in? Vidicic, sorry. And also we have Maiga already at the club. I think this guy could be a decent third choice. He's better than the young Greek-Australian Stematopoulos, or whatever his name was. So yeah, I'm really excited about this guy. I think we could actually see him in the first team squad next year on a youth contract, which means he won't take up a slot in the registered squad as well. So that's really, really good. And of course, just a reminder that we do have Cameron Burgess coming in for next season as well. So that's already one we've got in the bag. So nothing else to catch you up on right now. I just want to let you know who won the league, and of course catch you up on the youth transfers. Oh, one other minor, well not minor, it's a good contract renewal. Josh Risdon signed a new contract, so he's here for the next 3 years now. That'll take him up to 30, and then we might have to see what happens from there. But you can see he's a really, really good right back at this level. And of course, the only downside is he does have a minimum release fee, just under £1 million. Now, A-League clubs can't pay money for other A-League clubs, so we're not going to use him domestically. He could only go overseas. And if we get £1 million for him, to be honest, we do have a really good right backup in Dylan Prieras, who's actually just been called up to the Australian B team for the Copa America in game. And he'd be just about ready to step in and take Risdon's spot. So I'm not too concerned if we get £1 million and we have another good younger right back to come through. I think that could almost work in our favour anyway. So hopefully, we're still waiting for contracts to expire here, and then we'll get, hopefully, some big signings and maybe 1 or 2 loans in as well. I'm looking at the loan market. Okay, we have some breaking news. We have found a young Australian player, and we have signed a young Australian player. 19-year-old Tyrese Francois, I think you'd pronounce that. We signed him from Fulham. He was transfer listed there. He wasn't wanted. 67 grand. We're going to pay $1.5 grand a week, which is a little bit more than I would perhaps have liked for a young player. But we have a look at him here. Yes, we haven't fully scouted him, but I think there's enough here to think it's worth the risk. We can see, we know already he's got good passing, good vision, good flair. Physicals are quite good. Good first touch. Dribbling is going to be relatively good. So I think there's enough there to see that it's worth the risk. He's 19 as well, so if he comes off for us, it'll be a really, really good signing. If he doesn't, we'll sell him on. Even if we lose the 67 grand, just free transfer him. I don't think it's going to be a bad one. So there we go. We've got someone in here. He'll officially join on the 21st of July, which is sort of when the transfer window officially opens. So we've got a little bit of time to wait before he officially joins, and we'll maybe get a better idea of what these other stats are. But I think he'll do okay. To be honest, I think I'm pretty happy with that one. Now, some other things to catch you up on. We have released players now, which is good. A couple of people that have signed new contracts. I think Connor Chapman, did he end up signing his new contract? We've offered him a new contract. He hasn't signed it as of yet, but that should be coming through. Players who have signed a new contract, as my brain... Oh, Pasquale signed a new contract. Long-term deal to 2024, so 4 years. He's a good young Australian midfielder. We're not going to improve too much on that, I don't think. So we've got him in for the next 4 years. You can see £800 a week as well. And we did offer... Did he sign it? No, not yet. We were looking to tie Dylan Prieras down to the club as well. Now, the other thing that's happened is Durante, our senior citizen New Zealand defender, he did retire... but what we've done is we've got him in as a youth coach. Now, how do I get to my youth coaches here? I want to go to all. And I probably want to go... I'm going to have to go to development. Why game? Why? All right, let's go staff. Coaching teams. And there we go, Andrew Durante. So he's not necessarily a youth coach, but I think mentally he's quite good. We can see him there, technical. So was it possession, technical? I think he'll be a good coach for... we're basically going to put him in the youth team, give him some time there to develop. You can see he's working on his coaching badges already, and then I think there might be a good first team coach there for us, and there might even be. He's not quite a youth team head of youth development because he doesn't have the working with youngsters. He could be a decent assistant manager, but anyway. Andrew Durante is retired as a player, but he is staying at the club on the coaching staff, which I'm relatively happy with. And that is that for now, guys. Hopefully there will be more signings. It's just a matter of who and when. More breaking news, and it's another signing, and this time we have signed a left-back, Corey Brown. Now, he was at Melbourne Victory last year. As you can see, he's released. His contract expired, and he was released. We're paying him 1.3 grand a week. We've got to keep a small eye on the salary cap here, of course. But Corey Brown, I think he will do a really, really good job. Basically, it'll be between him and Ali Abbas to battle it out for the left-back spot this year. He's better than Ali Abbas. I suspect he might end up with the position. Really, really good all-round physically. Just a little bit jumping reach lacking, but everything else there is good. Crossing, dribbling could be a little bit better, but crossing's good, tackling's good. Mentally, he's fine. I think he's definitely an upgrade. And what we've also looked to do is our young left back, we're looking to send him out on loan. Basically, because we don't need 3 left backs registered in the squad, and it might help him realize his potential playing week in, week out. So that looks like it's all but done. You can see here, Pereira and Connor Chapman, right on note this time, have signed their new deals as well. So that's good. We're starting to build a team for next year now. There's still going to be more ins and outs. It's taking shape though. Jordan, did Messi respond to our contract offer? What do you mean he hung up? Hello? Speaking. Your name is Mr. X. Messi, is this you? True, Messi doesn't have an Australian accent. Alright, Mr. X, how can I help you here? You have a sneak preview of our youth intake? Ooh, tell me more. Okay, welcome back. Now, this is obviously a new feature on FM20, a West United Youth Intake Preview. So we've got the report from Mr. X. We can see here there are a lot of wingers coming in the system. We have what looks to be a top prospect in centre of midfield. There is an attacking midfielder who we should keep a very close eye on. We have one good young Australian attacking midfielder from Melbourne who we should keep an eye on. Now, I wonder if those are sort of all the three. It sounds suspicious like that's all the same player, doesn't it? So one prospect coming through, which could be interesting to see. We don't have any wingers, any wing-backs. We don't have any good full-backs. Centre-backs are rubbish. Midfielders don't look great, apart from obviously the one, I would imagine. And the strikers also look rubbish. So we shouldn't expect too much from the youth intake, but I'm very, very excited. What is this attacking midfielder prospect? Do we have the new Tim Cahill coming through the system? Let's hope so, but we'll find out soon. Alright, just a quick update. We have our commercial summary, and I always enjoy having a look at this. Obviously, we've got nothing to compare it to, given it was the club's first season. But sponsorship, you can see we had, it's a bit disappointing, at 300,000, just over. Corporate hospitality was at 84 grand essentially. Matchday revenue was 235. Broadcast revenue is just under $1 million, and no competition prize money, which is a bit of a shame actually. You think there'd be something for the A-League. But my favourite thing, as always, is the shirt sales, and we sold just under 100,000 worth of shirts, which actually is a little bit disappointing for a brand new club. Maybe not that many fans is the reason. 10 grand non-domestic. The biggest sellers were Kone, Maega, who only came in late in the season, so that's a good effort from him. Diamanti, Risden, and Pasquale. So they're the fans' favourites. That's the commercial summary. We have a new scouting budget as well. We might need to... We're scouting the world, people. We might need to bump that up a little bit, but we'll see what we can do. Anyway, that's the commercial summary for this year. Alright, breaking news, and this is a big signing that I didn't expect to make, I'll be honest. We have signed Bailey Wright, Socceroo defender from Bristol City on a free transfer. We've got him for only 1.5 grand a week, which is absolutely stunning. He's 27 years old, so yes, he's not quite under what we expected, but to be honest, they've kind of ditched the sign young players thing. So, you know, we won't have to worry about that anymore. But Bailey Wright, let's have a quick look at him. A really good central defender, 4-star as you can see. He's at his potential. He's not technically the best, but he's got the main defensive stats, which is good. Mentally, he is amazing for this level, and physically, he's fine as well. Not the quickest, not the strongest, but a good all-round defender. So I'm really, really excited to get him in. Now, bear in mind, we have, as a Burgess, I think, coming in as well. It means that we will have to start to get rid of some defenders. Now, obviously, Durante has already left. I do like Jonathan. I think he's a good player for us. Hamill has use as a right backup as well. Bailey Wright, we know we have. I'm wondering, I did have a quick offer out of Gollum. Melbourne Victory's interested in him. Now, it said that they offered 250 grand for him. Now, as far as I know, you can't sell players between A-League clubs for money. And certainly the offer said zero. What I have done, a little tester here. We've sold off our young goalkeeper here. Now, it was supposed to be for 5 grand to Sydney FC. So we'll wait and see. I wonder if we can go into transfers and see here. You can see there. There's supposed to be a... Let's see, now it says zero there. We accepted a fee of 5 grand. So I'm not worried about the fee. This is just a tester to see if indeed we can sell players, sell to another A-League club for cash, if it will actually go through or not. I think this is the man we may look to get out just because his pace is gone. That's the main worry I have for him here, and he's sort of on the most money of the other defenders. But yeah, the big thing here, it's a big signing. It's Bailey Wright. He is a Western United player. Okay, it is July 21st, which means the A-League transfer window is officially opened, and we have 6 signings, but 3 of those are the young guys I showed you earlier. But we finally have some other of our bigger players in the club. Cameron Burgess has officially joined. 2.6 grand a week we're paying him as a central defender. I tell you what, you stick him alongside Bailey Wright with Jonathan Apopopoulos as a backup, or fighting for that first team spot. Suddenly the centre of our defence, and Gollum as well if he stays. Wow, we've got a good looking defensive setup for this year. Dario Vidicic, former Socceroo, has officially joined as well. 3.8 grand we're paying him. More of a creative player, good determination, good vision, good passing and technique and all that kind of stuff as well. And a model citizen, so he should help bring along some of the younger players as well. And the other one, now we finally get to see all of Tyrese Francois, so to speak, all of his attributes anyway. That's more we need to see. And I think as a young player, you can see there potentially, if was that 3.5-star player, or potentially a 4-star player, it looks like, maybe. I think that's a decent signing for us. A young player as well. We need under 20 players, or under 20, whatever the age group is. We need some young players as well. So that I think he's a good signing for us. Already worth more than the 67 grand that we paid for him. So there we go. That's the youngsters that are in. You can see the reaction to most of them is good to average. But we don't care what the fans say, do we? I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, breaking news. We have 2 loan signings to announce. First of all, it is Ben Follow Me, I guess. Follow Me? I don't know how you would pronounce it. But anyway, it's a loan signing. An young Australian striker from Ipswich. Let's have a quick look at him here. I'm thinking he's going to be probably, so if we play 2 up front, he'll be the 3rd choice. If we play 1 up front, he'll probably be 3rd choice again. So I think he's a good option for us. Now, I am tempted to look to sign this guy permanently at the end of the season. We don't have an agreement for that, but I think we could probably come to one. I think he's just a good all-round solid striking option. So we've got him on loan, a little bit more than I'd like to pay ideally for sort of such a backup player, but if we do continue with 2 up top, we do need a good solid 3rd option. This guy's definitely that. He's definitely an A-League quality striker. So that's a good signing, I think, for us. And the other one, another loan signing we've got this time in from Perth Glory. Brendan Wilson, a midfielder in on loan. You can see a B-. This guy goes down a little bit better with the fans. I think he's a stunning signing for us, to be honest. He's going to be sort of a backup in midfield. You can see he's a good passer, good tackler, good vision, decent enough physically, potentially quite good. I would have signed him permanently, but unfortunately, you can't sign players for cash in the A-League. Can also play back in this sort of more of a halfback role, so he's good backup there for Connor Chapman, so sort of to replace, what's his name, Jurtek in that kind of role. He can also do a decent job at right back, so when it comes to registering a squad of players, this guy is a useful player for this season for that as well. Now, that could mean the end. We're doing some squad balancing right now, trying to get players in and out and make sure that we don't break squad rules. As far as salary cap goes, we're not too bad. We still got about 8 grand a week to spend. So we're looking good on that sense of coming in under the salary cap. We're working that as well as we can. It's the actual squad registration only being able to have the 23 players registered, and only 20 can be over the age of 20. So that's where we're having a bit of problem right now. But we're doing okay. As long as we stay under the salary cap, we'll be in a good, decent spot anyway. I still think there's a couple more to come. I've got a couple of really big irons in the fire. I really hope when I come back, we're making some really big announcements. Okay, more breaking news. It's not the big one that I'm hoping to unveil. That may not happen now. We'll see what happens here. But we do have a young Australian winger, despite the name, Panos Archimedes. You can see 160 grand, so not all of that is up front. It is up front. It could potentially rise from there. Basically, it was a good young winger, a Socceroos winger. He's been capped 3 times for the Socceroos. Potentially can improve as well, can play on both wings, which I like. I think he's good. Room for improvement, as I said. 3.2 grand a week in wages. It did cost a little bit to get him out of Greek football. He was at Panathinaikos. Played at the Brisbane Roar last year on loan and did okay. I think we can get a little bit more out of him than that. So yeah, I think that is okay. Now, with him coming in, it does mean the end for Connor Payne. He has left on a free transfer off to the Newcastle Jets. We're still trying to bring players in. We're still trying to get some players out. We're July 27th. There's still a long way to go of this transfer window. We don't start till October. Okay, more breaking news, and this is maybe a surprise to someone. I did and ah over this one for at least 15 minutes, trying to decide whether to complete it or not. Dave Kone, as we'll christen him, because I can't say that first name. We've sold him back to Greece. 195 grand up front. Some extra installments means it'll rise up to just over $250,000. It gets his wages off the wage bill. I just feel like he was declining. He was a good player for us last year. He's a good 7 assists, 25 games, average a rating of over 7. I just feel like he's declining, and that he was a designated player. And I just wonder if, as a designated player, if we can do a little bit better than something that's rated 66% by the scouts. Just generally those attributes in general. Because if you do look, I was kind of looking at the team we would have without him. We would still have Wilson come in for him, who I think is pretty much at his level. Maybe not all round, but as a midfielder with the sort of the passing attributes there. Pasquale can go in and play as a deep line playmaker. Chapman is the anchor man. I still think that looks like a pretty strong midfield. We've got Francois to come in as well as a backup, as a good young player. And it does, as I said, it does free up a foreign player and a designated player slot at the same time. And I'm hoping anyway we can still do a little bit better. So that's it. That's sort of the team I'm looking at being our strongest team right now. Actually, no, because you'd have Burgess in there for, I think, for Jonathan. So that's sort of the team I'm thinking is our... Oh, well, and the goalkeeper would switch back as well. But yeah, I think that's the strongest team we have right now. It's looking good. I still think we can do maybe a little bit better, so we'll keep looking. Kone, look, mate, I'm sorry, but I can't pronounce your name, so you had to go. Look, mate, I have another call coming in. I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry. Hello? Speaking. Oh, Jackson Irvine. I've been waiting for your call, mate. I have been waiting for your call like you would not believe. So you're ready to sign this contract we agreed? What? What? Wait a minute. What do you mean you're signing for Swansea? Mate, I don't care if they offered you 3 times as much money. I thought we had a deal. Ah, for Christ's sake. So this is who I had lined up as our new designated player. He had agreed a contract with us. Once he had done that, other teams came in. Jackson Irvine had ended up going to Swansea for a lot more than we offered him. I think we offered him a designated player role, $4,500 a week, maximum bonuses I could afford. He would have been a really good signing for us. He's mostly the reason why I was willing to get rid of Kone, because he was basically a younger, better version of Kone. But yeah, he's ended up going elsewhere. I still don't think that it was wrong to get rid of Kone, but this is a real bit of a blow, to be honest. But we do still have 2 designated player slots available, so there's room to move now. And yeah, I think we do need 1 or 2 central midfielders in as well. Burgess has gone off on loan to Auckland City, I think it is, in New Zealand. So he's left the club for this season. So yeah, we're a couple of midfielders short, so we'll get to business now, making sure that we stock up our midfield and maybe get in a striker or 2 as well. Okay, more breaking news, and we have moved to strengthen midfield. Nicholas Pennington has joined us on loan from Cagliari. Is it Cagliari? Anyway, the Serie A, well, Italian club. I don't know if they're Serie A or not. But 21-year-old midfield, you can see the fans aren't too impressed, but I think this is a good signing for us. Another Australian youngster in, 4 caps for the Socceroos, paying him under $1,000 a week, which is excellent. Relatively versatile in midfield as well, can play defensively, can play sort of in traditional midfield, or we could push him forward if we need to, but well-rounded as well. Really, really happy for this, and it's just further strengthening us ahead of the season. I think we're looking like a really good team at this point. We're still trying to snap up players on loan, especially Australian players on loan, and we still have those 2 DP spots to go as well. So with maybe a chance to go big on some players right before the transfer window closes. We're only August 9th, so you know, maybe when things close up in Europe, we'll still have about a month to go. So it's a long, long way to go yet. Okay, more breaking news, and it's another loan signing from an A-League club. This time it's Daniel Dasilva on loan from the Central Coast Mariners. Now, what I like about this, we are paying him a little bit of change, but we can afford it. A B+ signing. The fans really like this one, and they should like it as well, because what I like about this is that a number of positions here are covered. We have both wings, we have number 10 and just traditional midfield roles all covered. He's not the best in the air and he's not the strongest, and finishing is not fantastic. But just as a build-up play guy, then I think we've really got someone that's strong here. And yeah, very, very happy to have him in on loan. Now we're getting towards the end of what we can do here, I think. We're running out of loan options. We do still have designated players that we could bring in. You can see we're still looking really good in terms of the salary cap. But yeah, it's just getting to the point now. There's just the general finances going the wrong way, you could argue. I would like to get, I think, 1 more midfielder in. If we look at the squad that we have by position, you can see we have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 real midfielders. A couple of others that can play in the role. So we could probably do with one more midfielder, I think. But after that, I think we're just about getting to the end. One other person that we did sign, actually, that I did forget to mention was Marco Tillo. He's very high potential. He's just on a youth contract, so we don't have to register him for the squad. So we'll try and keep that for that, even that sort of role for this year, and then we'll make a decision on him next year. But yeah, so that's one other one that did come in. Yeah, we'll see where we're at. As I said, I think we are coming towards the end here, though. Okay, more breaking news, and this is not a signing I expected to make. Adam Federici, a Socceroos goalkeeper, he was available on a free transfer. We just went and made a bid. He's actually already announced he's retiring at the end of this season, so it will be a one-season thing unless there's a way we can talk him out of retiring. But you can see here, a really, really good goalkeeper. We're paying him only £650 a week. Agility isn't great, acceleration isn't great. I don't know that he's a great sweeper keeper, but we'll go with that anyway because that's how we play. First touch and passing is good. I mean, I think this is a really good signing for us. As I said, I wasn't necessarily expecting to sign a goalkeeper. I was relatively happy with what we had. He's not really a goalkeeping coach or anything like that for afterwards. But what this may actually allow us to do, though, now, is see if we can cash in on... where are we? I was just making sure we were actually going to be able to fit him under the salary cap there. We may actually now be able to look to cash in on Curto, because he's up at the end of this year anyway. He's not as good, I don't think, as Federici. Physically, he's a little bit better. Or do we actually look to keep him and loan out Suman and give him first team football? Then he could look to come in next year as first choice. Maybe that's the option we need to go for here. Anyway, a really, really good signing at Adam Federici. We are pretty much now at the salary cap. Does that mean we're over or under salary caps? We might be over. How are we over? Anyway, I think we're done. We do have some designated players we could bring in, which wouldn't affect the salary cap. So if we can get players out, we might get players in. Yeah, we don't have any salary cap players as of yet. So there is still available because they won't count against the salary cap. But yeah, we'll just kind of see how we go on that front. Okay, the youth intake has arrived, our first ever youth intake, and it is underwhelming. We were warned, weren't we, earlier on by Mr. X not to expect too much. I tell you what, this attacking midfielder that we're supposed to look forward to, I mean, he's not the worst. Maybe 2 to 3 stars is underselling him a little bit, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm gonna say there's not too much else going on here, is there? You know, a couple of potentially maybe 3-star players on a good day, but yeah, there's not much there, is there? So youth intake is a massive flop. So it's slightly disappointing. Okay, the transfer window has closed, and we were the most active with 18 signings, so we've lost a couple, and I'll explain why in just a second. We've lost one anyway. And we spent just under 225 grand. Now, the player that we've lost is Daniel Dasilva, basically because we couldn't fit him in under the salary cap, so we had to let him go. It was better than letting go one of the other players that would have cost us money off of the salary cap. This way, with the loan just gets cancelled. Yeah, because if we'd released somebody that was already paying, it wouldn't have helped the salary cap. So we... basically the player that was expendable in that he was there sort of as a first choice, but could cover for a number of positions. So we can get by without him, basically. So it's a real shame because he's a really good player. But yeah, he goes back to the Central Coast Mariners. So that is that. Let's go and have a quick recap of what has been a very, very busy transfer window. If we have a quick reminder of the outs, Mauricio has left permanently. A couple of people out on loan. Dario Jurtek left. One of our young keepers left the Sydney FC on a free. It turns out you don't get money for that. Burgess left. He's on loan, so he can come back, though I'm not sure we have a spot for him in the team, to be honest. Connor Payne left on a free to go to the Newcastle Jets, so we will see him again. And Kone left as well. We did sell him on... for a little bit of a profit there. That's basically where our money came from. Now the ins. Oh, look at the ins. Look at the ins. Now there's a few here that didn't work out basically, and they come down to basically to salary cap issues. So I'll point them out as we get there. Corey Brown came in as a left back option. Very, very happy to get him in on a free transfer from Melbourne Victory. Marco Tullio again as a youth contract on a free transfer. Decent potential. I'm not quite sure where we got him from. Might have been Sydney FC. Bailey Wright, the first of the big ones, on a free transfer from Bristol City. Really happy to have him. Cameron Burgess on a free transfer from Scunthorpe. Again, a good signing that one. Dario Vidicic on a free transfer from India. This is a couple of youngsters that we signed, that we scouted, that were available on a free transfer. Tyrese Francois. Now, this guy is unhappy with us because apparently I promised him he could go out on loan. I wasn't paying attention when I was offering his contract. I don't want him to go out on loan. I want him to play for us. So yeah, the reason that he's still at the club, we didn't get a good enough loan offer for him once I realised that I'd promised him that. And I don't really know how. I want to change his squad status so we, as to offer him more playing time. Actually, now I see that, I think I know how to do that. So hopefully we'll be able to fix that misunderstanding up. But yeah, he is in on a fee, and 2 other youngsters that we got in on loan. Oh, I don't know if I showed you Ahmed Talib, another young goalkeeper on a youth contract that we got in, potentially quite good. Brendan Wilson, we got in on loan from Perth Glory, a really, really good central midfielder. I'm hoping we can make this deal permanent at some point. Ben Felamy on loan from Ipswich, and then Panos Archimedes will continue to go with that as a wide option on both sides, but predominantly down the left, should we need to play with wingers. Pennington, we got in on loan from Cagliari as a midfield option. Really, really good player. I'm really, really happy to have him in. Socceroo as well with 4 caps. Dasilva, we know we got him in. We've also lost him since. So I'm hoping this will be able to be revisited at some point. Again, we can't sign him for a fee. So that's a bit of a problem there. Aidan O'Neill, we got in. Now this guy, we basically got in and then had to let him go. I got him in hoping to get Francois out on loan to keep him happy. That didn't go through, which meant we couldn't get this loan to go through either. So he's a good player. Hopefully, again, we'll get him into the club at some point in the future. Though his wages are 35 grand a week. So that's going to be a big problem. On loan, we could get away with paying 10%. But then it turns out we would have had to get rid of him anyway because of the salary cap. Adam Federici, he gets a last hurrah in the A-League. He's retiring at the end of the year. He's signed a 2-year deal, so I'm hoping we might be able to convince him to stay longer. But he comes in a really, really good passing goalkeeper. So I'm hoping he'll do well for us. And then one other small one, Caleb Watts. I think he was at Southampton, I want to say. He was over in England on a youth contract. We'll just kind of see how he goes. So a very, very busy off-season. We basically broke even. We spent 225. We brought in 230. So I think we've done really well there in terms of breaking even. Finances, yeah, not too good. We do have room in the budget if we want to do something else. And we do still have room. We do still have 2 foreign player slots. No, so 2 designated player slots, as well as some foreign player slots as well. So, I mean, the fact that we don't have the foreign players, the designated players, that's not helping our the budget, the salary cap. So what I'll try and do, I think, is I'll try and renegotiate some of our current guys onto designated player deals, which will then free us up, and hopefully we can maybe go back, for example, and get Daniel Dasilva in January. So this is how we're lining up ready ahead of the season. Our striking options, and we're pretty good. We've got Dario Vidicic as a striking option, which is good. We have Ben Felamy as a striking option. Diamanti could play there, though probably not, as well as Mobida, and also Panos Archimedes can play up there as well. As the number 10s go, we have Dario Vidicic. I'm going to have to do this way, aren't I? So Dario Vidicic is a good option at number 10, as is Diamanti. They'll be the 2 main guys that play there. Tillo can step up if we need him to, again on the youth contract. Pasquale, who has a serious injury, he is out for the first few months of the season. But he could step forward there for us, as could Francois if he stays happy in at the club, and Archimedes can play in there as well. Pennington, not so much, I don't think, the way we're looking to play. Midfielders, central midfielders, Brendan Wilson can play in there. Pasquale, obviously, Francois, we've seen these guys already, Pennington as well. I don't want to draw this out any longer than it has to be. The designated player, the deep lying midfielder. The main guy here is Connor Chapman. He's a really good player in there for us. Wilson, we know, can play in there, as can Pennington. And if we're really desperate, Francois could step back there as well. Central defenders, we're really well served. We could even say we're too well served for central defenders. Gollum, we couldn't end up getting him out. So he'll basically play for this year. His contract's up, and then I was really hoping a Turkish club would come in for him. Cameron Burgess as a centre-back, obviously. Connor Chapman can play as a ball-playing centre-back if we're desperate. Bailey Wright is a really good option back there for us, obviously, as is Jonathan Apapropomopoulos. And Brendan Hemmel is still at the club as well. Corey Brown and Risden, they can play there, but they won't. On the left side, and this is where I think we're looking really strong this year, because we have Corey Brown as well as Ali Abbas. Ali Abbas's last year of his contract. I think we'll see him off this season. And then, of course, Gollum there as well. And on the right side, again, we are really, really strong. Risdon as the main option. Bailey Wright can play out there, though he won't, because the second choice will be Dylan Perez. So again, we've got two really good options. And then Wilson can play over there, as can Hamill as well. So we're really well served at right back. And then goalkeepers, we're looking solid as well. It'll be a battle for the first team, for the first number 1 jersey, I guess, between Philip Curto, who was our goalkeeper last year, and Adam Federici. I think Federici will hold the shirt to start with, and we'll just kind of see how he goes. And, of course, Nick Sulman as well is a young option that we can look to use. So there we go. That is the Western United team as we're shaping up ahead of the 2021 season. We'll be back next time, of course, being tomorrow to start the season. We start with Melbourne victory in the league. And then we've got an FFA Cup tie as well. I'll catch you up on how that's been going through pre-season next time. This has been a long episode, guys. Apologies for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.